About like 10 to 15 minutes later, a doctor came in with the ultrasound, and it's really weird. That picture on that screen was something that I saw for a very long time afterwards. I don't know why. It just really stuck with me, the stillness of everything. Um, so our baby had passed away. And, I remember the heartbreak, the feeling of uh, every feeling, honestly. Everything kind of seeps in. Uh, but also the feeling of love for my wife and wanting to be there for her and be strong. Um, so that night they gave us our options, what was going to happen, moving forward. They said, Chloe was still very sick. We had no idea why she was sick. We had no idea why any of this was happening. So they told us that we would probably have to wait about a week or so until she got better, and they would induce labor.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a really confusing thought to me. It's something you don't think of. Your wife having to give birth to your daughter. That's not alive. So that was very hard. Thinking of Chloe and having to carry Addie for another week. The uncertainty of it, was just something that was very hard for us to come to terms with. And I guess thankfully our daughter wanted to come out on her own terms, and Chloe went into labor naturally that night.
Mm.
Uh, and she gave birth to our daughter the next morning.
Were you at
We,
the hospital still? Were you?
yes, we were at the hospital. We spent some time with our daughter. I often tell a lot of families now, since I do a lot of interfacing with the families.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, since a lot of the dads reach out, I try to speak to every dad that calls in to us, and it's just a very confusing time. You don't know what to do. You don't know what's right. You know, uh, there is no right way to do to kind of cope with any of this. So, we spent time with our daughter. I remember the weird things that we think are crazy now. We were like, I don't know if we want pictures. We don't know. We don't know what we want. You don't know. Oh, sorry, I clicked on it.
That was funny.
Yeah, yeah. You just don't know what you want. But we had some really amazing people, nurses, push to. They told us what we wanted, and I'm glad they were there to guide us along through our journey. So through all this, right after they had taken our daughter away, our doctor came in and informed us that Chloe had contracted Listeria.
Oh
Uh,
no.
yeah, which is one of those pregnancy things where you hear a lot of people like, do whatever you want, drink, eat lunch meat. My wife was the absolute. She wouldn't eat a piece of ham, nothing. Everything she looked up on her phone, and it was very hard to come to terms with, for her to come to terms that it wasn't her fault.
Mm-hmm.
Her and every mom, I'm sure, and myself. I mean, I do most of the cooking. I thought, well, maybe I did this, to come to terms that it's not our fault. It's nobody's fault. We just, it just happens. We don't, there was nothing we could have done to prevent what happened to us. We never know where she got it from. Nobody else contracted Listeria. And then after that, Chloe was put on the correct medicine, the antibiotics. She got better and was discharged from the hospital 2 days later. We went to our condo, packed it up, and moved into uh, this big house we live in now.
Yeah, I can imagine that was hard. Did you already have it set up for her, or did you just move in after?
No, we did not actually. Addie's nursery. I'll be honest. We never went in it until I got it ready for our rainbow baby Enzo. So we kind of shut the door and just kind of let that go for a little while. Um, so we packed up and we moved here, and I had to get back to life on my end. I was the sole provider for our family. My work gave me some time off, but I had to go back. I remember how hard that was. Uh, Being a man in construction, a lot of people don't want to talk about what happened to me. Uh,
Hmm.
it's and that's what I want. That's why I reach out to all these dads that reach out to the foundation, and I tell them, you're not alone. You don't have to be the strong one all the time. You can cry to your wife. It validates the way she feels too. Uh,
Right.
you know, we can grieve as well, and you deserve somebody to talk to. So if you need me, if you want to reach out to me, you call me anytime. And I've had a lot of dads call me and talk to me and share their stories about how hard this is.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you can even do that says a lot about you because you're now hearing more stories that, like, my husband does not like to relive what happened to us. So I can't see him doing what you're doing. So that's really amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Honestly, it's easier when I'm talking to them.
Mm.
I find a lot of peace in
Yeah.
helping others. You know, I remember the night that uh, we lost Addie. I had to go to the funeral home and pay for the cremation of our daughter. And I came back. My sister took me. She wouldn't let me go alone. And I came back, and I remember laying with Chloe in bed. We pushed the little hospital couch up to the bed, and we held each other all night long. And I remember telling her, "It's wrong. It's wrong that people have to pay uh, to cremate their daughter, or bury their child." I said, "One day, I'm going to make sure people don't have to do that if they choose not to." I mean, it's terrible, and you know, I very briefly looked over what you were doing, and I appreciate all the advocacy you've done as well, in just bringing this to light and letting people know there's resources and outlets for them, like our foundation, so
Right.
that I can connect with dads that need somebody to connect with.
I think it's really one of the things that helps me grieve, healthy, because otherwise it's too internalized. It's like you're drowning in your sorrow of, you know, this horrible thing that happened to your family that you couldn't control. But what
Yeah.
can you control is I feel like I can control hopefully stopping it from happening to the other families that are still, in the pregnancy stage. That's why I'm trying so hard to share tips that I wish I knew, and they may or may not, work for everyone, but they might save a baby or two, and that just kind of lightens my heart a little bit.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Yeah, I
every
remember.
day knowing someone else is going through what we have is really heavy too, to feel that sense of
Yeah.
responsibility for something that others don't care about enough yet. People are sweeping it under the rug. The community doesn't all know about it. Government doesn't make it a priority. Medical care and maternity care is pretty all over the place in every state.
Hmm.
So it takes people like us who really have had this extreme trauma to turn around. And it took me a couple of years too to even be able to talk about it, but now I'm like, you know what, it's been 6 years almost for me, for Owen. 2015 he was born still, but I still feel like it's been a long time and not enough change. So
It
I'm
has.
jumping in there, just raising my voice for others that can't do it yet.
And I feel like that as this is coming more to light, there will be people behind us doing more and more, and kind of changing people's perspective of this. And you know, it's just such a taboo subject.
Yeah.
Even when we were in the hospital, my parents experienced a stillborn, almost identical to what happened to us.
Wow.
A very mysterious illness around 18 weeks, and just 4 years ago, I remember the social worker in the hospital. My parents didn't tell me this for a couple of years. Went to them and told them not to talk about their loss to us because it would make us feel worse.
Mm.
And I'm like, I always felt so weird. I'm like, why aren't they talking about it?
Mm-hmm.
Like they know, who knows more than them, but just this bad advice, you want to be surrounded by people that uh, have been through things like you have, who understand how you feel. And you need your feelings and your grief to be validated every now and then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there are children. I think that's a really hard thing for people to fully understand who have not lost a child. To them, it might seem like we're continuing to mourn, a pregnancy or something. It's not just the pregnancy, it's the child that should be growing. That yours would be 4 now. Mine would be 6, and it's so many moments of an entire lifetime without your
That's
child.
that's what I tell a lot of families. I mean, I used to be very nervous talking to dads and moms and families. Uh, I've kind of gotten over that, and I tell them, don't feel bad about grieving. You didn't grieve something that you knew about for 18 weeks, or 40 weeks. So you're grieving uh, the years that you dreamed about. Walking your daughter down the aisle, or uh, everything, the graduations, the sports, everything. That's what you're grieving. You get to know these children. You dream a whole life for them, and it's taken away from you. So you can feel how you want to.